Hi everybody, Michelle from Michelle's Craft Corner here. In today's video, we're going to be making this lovely card using the Daisy bundle, also featuring the lovely Stampin' Up! Color Pear Pizzazz. So let's get started. So here's a close-up of that card that we're going to be making today. So it's a pretty simple card using that Pear Pizzazz color. Of course, Pear Pizzazz is not your color. You could easily mix this up with any of Stampin' Up's other lovely colors or just some different paper on the background. But let's go ahead and get started. So to make this, we're going to be using, of course, the Daisy, the Daisy bundle, which is just an amazing bundle with our new Daisy Punch and this gorgeous stamp set. I'm covering a few of the stamps. There we go. Really wonderful. It's a photopolymer stamp set, and together it's quite reasonable. I will say that this punch has been the most popular punch that we have had in 5 years. It has sold out twice, so I'm pretty confident that it's going to be sticking around for a while, but if it's not in the store when you check, then just check back a little later. It should be sticking around for a while, but really, really loving this set. We're also going to be using, of course, the basic black to stamp that flower, and of course the Pear Pizzazz ink pad. And then besides these, we're also going to be using the Pear Pizzazz cardstock for our card base, and some Whisper White for that edge around the front. And for our background paper, we're going to be using a piece from the Whole Lot of Lovely. I don't know if you can read my handwriting there. I forgot to do a post-it note for the paper. But from the Whole Lot of Lovely Designer Series paper stack. And this is just an absolutely gorgeous set of paper. This is 12 sheets, 2 each of these designs, and they come in 12 by 12 sheets, but it was just easier for me to cut it up so you guys can see it for the video. So that's one side, and then you flip it over to the back. It's a whole different pattern. So if you don't like one side, you might like the other. So really, really nice paper set. So for this one, I went with this green, but you could definitely do a lot with all these other beautiful colors. All right. So you guys got all that, and then of course you're going to need your adhesive of choice. Today I'm going to be using the snail adhesive. All right, and you're also going to want some scrap Whisper White for stamping your daisies on. All right, so let's get started. We're going to go ahead and grab our daisy. I've already got him on a block, and our scrap right here, some Whisper White. Now, I will advise you, since this is a photopolymer, there's my mat. It will stamp better if you stamp it on the Pierce mat. So we're going to go ahead and start with our basic archival black. Oops, post-it notes in the way. Now, mine does look a little stained. I recommend for the photopolymer, don't stamp in your darkest ink color the very first time you use it. Go with a lighter color, like a soft pink or a yellow, and it won't stain as bad. But even if they do stain, they still do work perfectly fine, so don't worry about it, don't let it bother you, but just a handy tip, which I heard a little too late. Alright, so we've got our two already stamped right there. Now I'm going to go ahead, move that out of the way, and do the center for one of them because we're layering one on top of the other. You don't need to stamp the center in both. I'm just going to pick one with that Pear Pizzazz. And the stamp set has a solid circle, I don't know if you can see that, a solid center, and then another one that's got some detail on it. So we're going to do the solid one first and just ink that up. And to kind of keep it from being too dark, we're going to stamp off. So just stamping it on your paper or scrap, and then stamp the center. And that'll keep it from being just super dark. All right. Then we're going to switch to our other little center piece that's got the little detail on it. And that one we're going to go solid Pear Pizzazz, so no stamping off on that one. And just stamp that right on top. So it'll look like that, if you can see that. Alright, so now we have our stamping done pretty quick. We're going to go ahead and punch those daisies out. Now if you look at the punch, the petals are pretty much up and down. So when you're punching, or well, actually punching and stamping, it's easier if you stamp it straight up and down, because then, let me flip this around here, you can slide it in and line it straight up. Do this not on top of the mat. So with that, you can line it up and punch it out and get a crisp punch. Now, I'm not going to do that upside down and backwards, so hold on a second. Just line that up, punch it out. There you have your daisy. So pretty simple stamp set and punch to use. Now, of course, if you wanted to do more layers, you definitely could. You can also stamp that on a different color besides white. A lot of different things you can do with that. All right, so now we have our daisy good to go. Let's go ahead and glue that together. Let me close this ink pad here. Always handy to keep your ink pads closed if you don't want ink on your arms. Okay, so just a little glue in the center. And then we're just going to offset it so the petals on top are between the petals below. There we go, just like that. So now we have our little daisy. We're going to set that aside and we're going to work on the layers for the rest of this card. So we're going to have our piece of that Lot of Lovely, and that is cut, oh, the one that actually has the measurements. Here we go. That is cut at 5 inches by 3 3/4. Okay, so that is our background. And then we're going to have our piece of green for the background at 3 by 3. And then the white square that's going to go inside is 2.5 by 2.5. So it's just got that nice small little border going. And then we're going to have just a little strip. Now, the little decorative strip I just think really kind of makes it pop. This is 4 inches by 1/2, but you can go a little wider or just any dimension you want if you don't want to do a 1/2 inch. This is just the size of the scrap that I had. And then for our white background, now this is that white edge, that is 5 1/4 by 4. So it's just a bit bigger, just about a 1/4 inch bigger than our designer series paper. All right, you guys got all that? Hopefully it wasn't too many measurements at once. So we're going to go ahead and start layering those together. So we're going to have our white piece as the back, and go ahead and glue our designer series paper down on top. I'm going to glue it to where I have just that little white edge showing all around it. So nice little piece of white edge, just like that. See that white edge? I'm going to go ahead and add my Pear Pizzazz square with my white on top. And this one I recycled. Alright, just like that. So now we have that green edge all around. We're going to go ahead and add our little strip. Be sure to add the strip before putting down your green square. So this is just going to go straight across the middle of my card. So just kind of like a belly band, or just kind of like a little band in the center. So just like that. Then we're going to add our square on top. Now you could definitely throw some dimensionals on this if you want to give it a little pop in the center, either under your square or under your daisy. Totally up to you. So now we're going to go ahead and just add that daisy on there. You don't need to glue the whole thing, just hit it a little bit in the center and it should be good. Just like that. And the other thing you can do too with this one, if you want, is you can kind of bend up the petals. Grab my bone folder here, which actually this is a little easier to do before gluing the flower down. But I just want to give you another idea here. So you can just kind of take your bone folder and that petal, a little closer, and just like your curling ribbon, you can curl those petals up and make them pop up if you want. Definitely better if you're not mailing them. It's kind of good to kind of keep it flat, so keep the postman happy, but if you're hand delivering, it doesn't really matter. So you can just kind of go around and give it that fun little pop up all the way around and really make your flower stand out. But you don't have to. Just another suggestion option for you. You can also throw a rhinestone in the center if you don't want to do the green center. Alright, so here we go. Now we're just going to add our front to that green card base. Crease that edge real quick. There we go. So you can see just how quick and easy this card comes together. Oh, there you have it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video on how to do a simple card with that daisy builder, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week. Bye!